I'm Dwayne Schrader, and I welcome you to this month's edition of Reflections. In previous months, we have reflected upon the old brick church, the building of our current church, and the importance of Christian education. Throughout our congregation's history, today we would like to present some random memories that members of our church have shared. Hopefully, you will enjoy them as much as we did, and they may trigger some memories of your own.
Do you people know that this church, if you was up in a helicopter or up in an airplane, went above this church, you know what the shape of the church looks like? It's a cross. So you go from here to here, and then you look at the two wings. And if you're up there, and I did see it one time when I flew over here, then you got, it's the shape of a cross. Whoever thought that?
Before, on Saturdays, we had to polish our shoes up and get them all cleaned up, because Sunday we had to go to church and have our shoes always shining. Yeah. In fact, the shoes that we polished up were the shoes that we wore in the daytime. We didn't really have much for shoes when we were young, you know. Yeah, we just, we wear them for work and then we'd wear them for Sunday, but we had them shined up, and we had to have our suits on. And in fact, the suit I had, my mom would get it from my uncle, and then she'd cut it down with the material and make me suits. I always had a homemade suit, tailored.
Yeah, that's cool.
The ladies all wore hats. The next door to what is the bakery now was Brimeyer's Hat Shop, and everybody went there like on Good Friday. And no matter if it looked good or not, she would always, oh, that looks so nice on you. And then of course you got to buy that hat. But we had some ladies that had a hat for everything. I don't want to mention any names, but they were very good at it.
Another thing about weddings that I remember is my grandma always cooked the coffee. They made egg coffee in those days, and she was always the coffee cooker, whether it was a wedding or a funeral or an anniversary or what. And in those days, I think all of the weddings, the receptions after were held here in the church basement. And I got to be a waitress for a lot of weddings, and you always got a nice little apron. That was kind of tradition.
When we came here, I rode with my partner, who would be my partner for 20 years. He had already been here 10, Clyde Seekins. He said, "What church do you go to?" And I said, "The big one." We were happening coming up the street. That's why I brought up the subject. I said, "That one." "Oh," he said, "the German Lutheran Church." And I said, "What did you say?" He said, "The German Lutheran Church." I said, "Clyde, I come from New Ulm, Minnesota. I am a German town. I have never heard that expression in my life. Never heard it till I got to Caledonia."
I was up in the balcony with my brother John, and we got to fooling around during the service, and Pastor Gergel shook his finger at us, and it kind of slowed us up but didn't stop us. But when I got downstairs and got outside, my father stopped us, and we had quite a long talk. To make a short story out of that, we didn't get to go back up there again.
When I was on the council, we had some problems with the furnace, and one of the either annual or semi-annual meeting, we were discussing what should be done with the furnace, and they discussed air conditioning at that time. And somebody made a motion that we not air condition, and the motion included that the church could never be air conditioned, and the motion passed. Well, obviously that didn't happen the second time around.
I was a member of the St. John's Society, Young People Society. One particular night, we carpooled over to La Crescent and went roller skating. And as I was roller skating with a couple of my girlfriends, the manager of the rink came up to me and asked me if I would like to lead a grand parade or grand march at the roller rink. Something led me to say, yes, I'll do it. And then the manager said, would you like to choose your partner? And I said, well, I was kind of hesitating about that, but then it just happened that there were two boys there that night. I had a crush on both of them. One was in my class, and one was an upperclassman. And so I thought, well, I always see the one in my class all the time, but the one that's the upperclassman, I kind of have a very strong crush on him. So I picked him. And amazingly, he said yes. He would lead the grand skate with me. And everything was successful. We didn't fall down or have any accidents, and the night was great. We ended up starting to date shortly after that night, and after a very long courtship through high school, through college, through the beginning of our careers. We will now, in October 2021, Tom Dieters and I will be celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary.
So we built a new church in '48, and I do remember going up there with my dad. And it was a real hot day, and my dad and I drove up there in the afternoon, and he started to help with something, and Pastor Gurgle drove up, and it was actually pretty hot, and he said, "Shorty, it's too hot for these men. Go down to the liquor store, get a couple cases of beer." And so my dad was happy to do that. And off he went, and of course all the men that were carrying rock and all these things were overjoyed with their refreshments.
I can remember one time when Pastor Dolger was pastor that we had some complaints that his sermons were too long when I was on the council. And one of the council members suggested that we put a big clock at the back of the church with a red line on it when the sermon should be over. And if he was still talking when the minute hand got to the red line, the trap door would open and he'd end up in the basement.
I am sure, along with me, you all got a great chuckle out of some of those great memories. As we continue to celebrate our 125th anniversary, let's reflect on some of the lighter moments with our church family. God has richly blessed our congregation. Until next time, God bless.
Let there be